So if you look just by the numbers, the economy's getting better, right? Inflation is cooling. The Dow just hit a record high. Looks like it might hit another one here in less than 20 minutes when it closes up for the day again. But new polling that NewsNation did along with Decision Desk HQ shows 50% of Americans feel worse financially today than they did last year. That's compared to 20% when the question was asked last year. And on top of that, more than 90% say they are still very or somewhat concerned about rising prices. So inflation still is a concern in that polling. We're joined now by our panel. Mark Caputo is the national political reporter for The Messenger, and Michael Connell is with us today, the congressional reporter for The Hill. And I'll start with you, Michael, on the political implications of this, if you can, because President Biden would love to take advantage of what is an improving economy by any measure in terms of, or most measures in terms of the numbers. The polling, I will say, is by its nature backward-looking, right? So I guess the question for the White House is, are those thoughts, how people feel, starting to change as the numbers improve? What's your sense?
Yeah, look, it's really interesting, the dynamics here, because we have this economy that is improving. The Dow did really well yesterday. So we're seeing that element on one hand. But on the other hand, we're seeing that Biden's approval ratings are still lagging. They are still at those low numbers, not anywhere near the White House or the campaign wants them to be heading into this 2024 election. So I think that what we'll see is the Biden administration, the White House, and the campaign continue to hit on these topics that they think are going to play well with their base. You know, one thing could be potentially the economy, if the economy continues to do well. Something that comes to mind to me immediately is abortion. We saw back in 2022 during the midterm elections. That was a huge player for Democrats in the race. I'm a congressional reporter. I see things a lot of the time through the lens of Congress. That ended up blunting what was expected to be a red wave in the House. So I think that, you know, economy is definitely one issue. But when we talk about really ramping up for 2024, trying to increase the president's approvals and increase his standing in the polls, right, I think we'll see him sitting on maybe economics, but definitely abortion.
You're right about the abortion politics, something we've talked about all week. I want to talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But Mark, to you on the economy and the question for the president about whether he can take advantage of what looks like an improving economy and if people's feelings start to change in those polls. How do you see things?
Well, certainly if people start to feel better, then it's going to be good for Biden. Biden's problem is people don't really feel better.
Right.
In 2012, when Biden was running for re-election as vice president, the Obama-Biden ticket had a saying internally in the campaign, which was, you can't argue with people that their feelings are wrong. And that's part of the problem. Now, there's multiple problems with the economy in general, and then problems with people's perceptions about them. But that's really the fundamental essence of this. Economies, by the way, are based on belief. They're based on credit. And the word credit comes from the word credo, belief. And so it's just a very difficult task for Biden right now to change those numbers until those numbers change themselves and then change his.
It's a really good point, because you could tell people, oh, the stock market's through the roof. And, you know, if people in their own life, if their own life's not improving or they don't think it is, then you're exactly right that politicians essentially are not going to be able to change their minds. Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.